and even if we go back to the most recent GAO report, we're talking about, county criminal records, the availability of records, are they automated, what is still a paper process, how is that information getting up to the state level? It varies depending on state and jurisdiction, especially the states that don't have any type of penalty for being non-compliant. So information is coming into the courthouse, arrest information is getting in there. Some of that information may go out to the state database, but they're not getting final disposition. So how can you make a decision on something if you don't have that level of data? And only that level of data you can find at the county criminal record. And having someone that really knows that jurisdiction and has done plenty of searches there.
And one of the things we see on that is that there are some firms that have used screen scraping and various techniques to go to the counties to try and scrape data, even though we know that there are a number of counties where a remote access by computer is not the functional equivalent of going to the courthouse. And I think that a quality provider or a provider that knows what they're doing is protecting an employer will only provide criminal information that's the functional equivalent of going to the courthouse. Now, there's certainly some courthouses where you can remotely access the information and it would be the same information as though you were at the courthouse. And if it's if there's a clear of the person's name's not there, in those, there's a certain number of counties you can do that in, but there's a lot of counties that people are screen scraping and doing remotely where you can't. And the problem is you end up with false negatives and false positives. So you can easily, as you pointed out, end up with a false negative, someone who really has a criminal record, and you don't find it, or you can end up with a false positive. You could label someone as a criminal, and it turns out they're not. And either one can get an employer in trouble. So at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. There's no substitute for domain expertise, domain knowledge, and doing it right. It just is not something as simple as putting a dime in the machine and getting back a piece of data. If that was the extent of it, it'd be a lot easier. And unfortunately, as employers find, when they get sued left and right for not doing it right, and it's much more complicated than that.
Fast and cheap is definitely not a way to do a comprehensive background check, as we know.